Hello, my name is Jamie Hernandez. I'm in Divorce and Romantic Relationships 1. This PowerPoint will be focusing on the effects of marital role expectations on divorce. I'll look at emotion-focused therapy as a means for intervention to increase satisfaction. There are 3 parts of this PowerPoint. The first will be about marital roles and expectations, the second about emotion-focused therapy, and the third about the expected outcomes. Marital roles and expectations. As far as marital roles and expectations, many couples have unstated and unrealistic expectations of what their marriages would be like. This can vary throughout multiple aspects of the relationship, whether it be a disagreement on the expectations of roles in a relationship, emotional expectations, or just their own ideals of what each spouse thought that their marriage would look like. The factors that influence these expectations can be cultural, religious, societal, or even obtained from the media. When focusing on the expectations of relational roles in a marriage, it's been suggested that disagreement about marital roles is a major source of conflict and dissatisfaction. Since we will be focusing on marital roles, we're going to be looking at the main causes of these unmet expectations. One of these causes is the lack of communication. Many couples do not effectively communicate their ideas of what they expect their own and their spouse's roles to be when they're married. This can look like a man expecting to be the provider and the breadwinner of the home and wanting his wife to stay at home to raise the children, whereas she may not want to do that. Or, on the other hand, it could be a wife wanting to be the breadwinner and expecting the husband to take paternity leave when they have children. And that's not something that he wanted or expected. That's just one example of how lack of communication can influence these unmet expectations in marital roles. Another one is unrealistic expectations. So the expectations of what a marriage is can be influenced by ideas of what a marriage is supposed to look like through social media, culture, religion, etc. A lot of times people will look to media, social media, their culture, their religion, and try to uphold those ideals and put that onto their spouse, where it's very one-sided. So not every couple will agree on these ideals, but again, it is an unrealistic expectation on probably both of the spouse's behalves. Another cause of these unmet expectations will be changing circumstances. So life happens, and when circumstances change, a lack of understanding your spouse and their expectations can cause greater turmoil when faced with challenges. So let's say if a couple is having financial trouble but the wife expected to be provided for by her husband, will he expect her to get a job? That would be a changing circumstance where it would conflict with their marital roles and cause challenges in the relationship. So this is a little timeline of what can be commonly seen in some of these relationships where marital roles are causing conflict. So the first part of this relationship is likely optimism. Newly married couples are extremely optimistic about their marriages. They operate under the assumption that both partners share the same expectations for how this new relationship will function. This extreme optimism leads to unmet expectations because they are both expecting things to work how they imagine it will. There's no room for reality, right? So when these expectations aren't met, it leads to disappointment and often uncertainty of the relationship because it reveals the gap between their expectations and the reality. So that disappointment and uncertainty leads to dissatisfaction. So the gap that has been revealed leads to this dissatisfaction for either one or both of the partners. And ultimately, that dissatisfaction and the unmet expectations, when left unaddressed, can cause irreparable damage in a relationship, leading to divorce. So, in regards to marital roles and satisfaction, studies have shown that when couples have contradicting ideas about role expectations, it leads to higher stress rates. Also, when these expectations aren't met, it leads to disappointment and uncertainty, which causes a decline in satisfaction, commitment, intimacy, trust, and love. And a study has also shown that the greatest rates of marital satisfaction were found in partners who shared the same attitudes towards breadwinning and fulfilled their expected roles in the relationship. This going to show that when there is this expectation of marital roles and they aren't shared, the couples usually suffer and have lower satisfaction rates. But when couples are on the same wavelength, they share the same values or expectations for their roles in a marriage, they are usually more fulfilled and struggle less with satisfaction or uncertainty. Emotion-focused therapy. Emotion-focused therapy, or EFT, couples therapy, focuses on addressing the underlying emotions each partner has, helping them process and understand them, and using that information to re-establish the couple's emotional connection. This is done under the belief that awareness of one's emotional needs and the steps taken to address them can create healthier relationships and lead to greater satisfaction. There are 3 main aspects of emotion-focused therapy: awareness, understanding, and change. So EFT helps couples develop their emotional literacy and emotional intelligence. This aids in accessing suppressed emotions and emotional regulation. Afterwards, once the individuals are aware of their emotions experienced, EFT can help process and understand the reason behind the emotions that are felt. And lastly, EFT will help the individuals become aware of, accept, and understand their emotions in order to change their maladaptive behaviors and create a new narrative for them. Expected outcomes. The expected outcomes for marital satisfaction post-emotion-focused therapy. So due to the work that is done in the processing, understanding, and acceptance of emotions in EFT, couples are able to communicate their emotions and expectations effectively. So they're able to identify their maladaptive behaviors that are straining the relationships that they're in, and they're able to restructure the way that they communicate and speak and even think of one another. Furthermore, the couples will be able to foster a healthy and secure emotional bond and reestablish their connection, increasing satisfaction and lowering the likelihood of divorce for these couples. These expected outcomes in marital satisfaction can be assumed when taking a look at the EFT process as a whole. So the understanding of expectations. As couples learn to understand their emotions, they understand the root of their marital expectations, or the fact that they had a need to begin with. Identifying this can allow for a proper action steps to be taken in a relationship in order to increase the understanding of the individual partners and to work on the dynamic of the couple. And this leads to increased satisfaction. So as these emotions are uncovered and expectations revealed, the issues will begin to be addressed. The therapy will not only address them, but new behaviors will replace the old ones that are causing tension, and the reshaping of expectations will increase satisfaction overall in the marriage.